Welcome, folks, to another episode of Who's Ghost Stories. I am your host, Reiki Master and Medium, Andrew Huzar. We've got research expert Sean and paranormal enthusiast slash cryptid expert slash the LeBron James of degrees and education, Professor Alex Wheaton.
With two F's.
We are continuing our back to school run here. We covered Edinburgh last time, and today we're going to take a look at Gannon University.
Moving inner city.
Very inner city. As always, check out our sponsors. You've got Spirit Magica to get your crystals. Link in the description. Use coupon code WHOSAR11. Get yourself a little discount. And then, of course, head over to Pet Art Creations, and you can have them do beautiful drawings of any pets you have, whether it's memorial, a living pet. They also do people as well. They've got many backgrounds you can choose from, or they can do full custom art for you as well. So definitely check them both out. Link in the bio for both. They'll help us out so we can get to some scary places to scare the pants off Alex.
That's fair. I was going to say, what about... No, that's fair.
So, I am excited to talk about Gannon. I did go here for a year.
A hot minute.
Yep. Didn't experience anything in that year, so I mean, I don't have anything to share, but I am excited to talk about it.
My third degree of 4. Yes, LeBron has 4 rings. I looked it up.
Boom. Look
I
at
am
that.
the LeBron of education.
We have our LeBron.
But my third degree was from Gannon, so this is, I also went here.
You're going to add LeBron to your ever-growing middle names. And Alexander PSL.
Well, I also have a U in there. I have Ulysses.
There we go.
Haven't talked about that one yet.
PSUL.
Oh man, you gotta change them to plus.
You could put them in any order you want.
And the S at the end still works, that I could do a PS.
So, which is more discoveries coming out about Alex over here than we ever thought.
Yeah.
And he shoots 3-pointers about as good as LeBron, too, so.
Not well.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at Gannon University today. For anyone outside the area, this is literally in downtown Erie.
It is landlocked.
Yes. You can go get drunk at a bar, stumble 2 blocks, and you're at Gannon.
Yep.
If you're downtown parking at a bar, you're most likely in campus. So
Yeah, I'd probably say technically downtown is all Gannon campus, technically. When I was there for orientation, they kept talking about campus, and all the kids outside of Erie didn't have the same realization that I did, that this is just downtown. We don't really have a campus outside of the bookstore.
Yeah. It leads to an interesting issue. Because I went there and I taught there for several years, I'm still on the emergency alert system. So anytime there's gunshots or a stabbing or a random person that happens to be walking on campus, which is downtown, I get a notification, and it's like, yeah, that's what downtown happens. So yeah, it's a unique situation.
definitely the exact opposite of Edinburgh University when it comes to campus.
Also, quick shout out, which is hilarious and fun about Gannon. Gannon's property is literally, it surrounds the courthouse.
Yes,
like
it
has a building on the one side, on the back side, and across the street. It doesn't have the one that's towards the park, but it's this private club, and then the courthouse, and then the rest of the buildings in the area are campus. So take that as you will. The courthouse is right between the campus, so
Technically on campus.
yeah, we'll put that out there as a interesting little tidbit.
It is so interesting to look at Gannon as a college because it's just downtown Erie.
Yeah, they buy any time a building goes up for sale. They try to buy one that's in that area so they have more buildings.
Yep.
When Verizon left, they bought the Verizon buildings. It worked. Yeah.
They keep trying to expand. They're gonna own all of downtown eventually.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, I'm excited, and because it is so much just downtown Erie, I'm excited to hear what Sean was able to dig up, because Erie's got a lot of history. Gannon itself's got history, especially being a Catholic college. It always has been a Catholic college, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is the Bishop's College.
Ooh.
Yes. In case you didn't know that, yes.
I didn't know that.
This is in the Diocese of Erie. Gannon
I guess.
Gannon is considered the Bishop's College. It is the only college in the area that the Erie Diocese can call their own.
That is cool. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting they chose Gannon.
There, I have some history that's off camera for that. It's very political, and we'll talk about that separately.
All right, but I think without further ado, Sean, take us into Gannon.
Gannon University is located in the heart of downtown Erie, Pennsylvania. It was first established in 1933 as the 2-year Cathedral College, and would become the men's 4-year Gannon College of Arts and Science in 1944, before gaining its university status in 1979. The university offers 98 different degrees. The university, like most, has both fraternities and sororities. One such fraternity house has a ghost story of its own.
A common legend occurred on a Halloween night. A fraternity was having a party, and one partygoer followed a dark figure in a cowboy hat up the stairs. At the top of the stairs, the figure tipped his hat and disappeared. After this, there was a series of unexplained noises, along with windows and doors opening and closing on their own. The figure would then reappear and warn the partygoers to get out before disappearing again.
The Schuster Theatre has been putting on spectacular productions since the 1960s. The theater is home to a spirit that is claimed to be a spirit named George. George is believed to be a former footman to the Strong family in the Strong Mansion. The Strong Mansion would become Gannon's Old Main. George was fired by the Stranges after it came to light that he was in love with a family maid. Distraught, George would take his life due to this rejection. George is said to move around things as well as opening and closing objects. The signature of George is the smell of cigar smoke when he is near.
Gannon University is yet another paranormal hotspot in the Erie area. As the university is part of the oldest part of the city, it is no surprise that there are lingering spirits over the centuries. We do not know for certain how many spirits are truly in these locations or around the university campus, but what we do know is there is something eerie in Erie.
Bravo.
It's such an eerie thing, and I love it.
So, since it's the shortest one, we'll start off with the frat house.
Yep.
If anybody out there has any information on this at all, like what frat house, anything about the ghost, if it's ever come back, please let us know.
We don't know what fraternity it is. We don't know which actual house it is. There was nothing.
There was just a party where a cowboy showed up.
Yep.
I know because I've known this story for years. What I had heard a long time ago was one of the two potential houses. One of them was actually the one that's on Buffalo Road.
Okay.
That was one of the two potential houses that I had seen because it wasn't on campus, but it was one of the fraternity houses for Gannon.
So many times.
And then the other one I heard was
I don't know if it was illegal, but I've been in there so many times.
But another one was it was like a frat house on 6th Street in the area.
We've got it down to 2.
I don't know which one on 6th Street. That's the problem. But
Hammer it down further for us.
Those were what I had heard back when I was in high school and I was thinking about this. I was looking into this and there were things about it that were like local legend kind of discussion board post things back in the day. Good old pro boards. So that's where I had heard about those two, but obviously, those boards have long since gone, so like some of that information is gone. So I don't know how accurate that was, but that's what I heard. I also heard from the same post, and I don't know if there was any hinting of this, but with the cowboy ghost, I had heard that the party goer went out onto the roof. That was where the ghost took them. Was that they went out onto the roof of the house, like through an upper window.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That does make it sound more like it's the one on Buffalo Road. But
Exactly. and that's why I was like, huh. So
An important part that gets left out of the story nowadays.
and that's why I said, like, I don't know, was this just the older version of the tale and it just adapted over time, or was this not part of, like, I don't know.
Or if they don't know which place it is, so that's why the part of going on the roof was lost.
Yeah, like, so I don't know, but I do know that when I had first read about this over a decade ago, like, that's what I had heard. So I'm bringing that to the table. What it be?
Well, and one thing that makes me wonder if it isn't more one of the downtown locations, because when we were going over McCoy's barrel house, aka Nick's place, how many spirits did they see that may have been mistaken as a cowboy that had a hat and long trench coats?
Yep.
And those dark figured spirits that were in that area.
Might not even be a cowboy.
I was thinking the exact thing too. After we had talked about that was like the first thing I was like, what if?
Right?
What if?
And I know that we hinted at this a bit, but this is downtown. And as we have said, downtown is one of the first parts of Erie that was founded. Like, that is the original town's area. So these are the oldest area. A lot of the churches in the area used to just bury their dead on site. There is churches on this campus. There are churches that have been relocated that used to be on this campus. This is old Erie, and there are spirits here that have been around longer than this college has.
Yeah, definitely. And, it could be the ghost of somebody that was, like, someone like Nikki's that was there for, like, a speakeasy, like, if that was the history of the property, or could it be a spirit of somebody whose house that was?
Yeah.
And he got fed up that there was a party.
Any number of things. Like,
could also just be a party goer that the person turned around and didn't see them walk into the bathroom.
Right.
That's why I like the part that you brought where they let him onto the roof, because that does kind of eliminate that possibility where another party goer was walking in front of them and they just didn't see them leave.
Yeah,
if they let them onto a roof and then were gone, it's like they either jumped or...
I could also see a college student jumping off of that roof. It's not that far of a fall.
That's the first thing. Second thing is, I knew someone that jumped out of a third story thing. That was a whole nother issue. So, like, yeah, I'm not surprised by that. But, yeah, I think Sean says it best. This is old Erie. Like, all of Gannon is... We jokingly said it's landlocked and everything, but it is. It is just downtown. So, being the oldest part of Erie, we've talked about in some of our stories already, and I'm sure the longer we do this, the more we're going to find. But, like, downtown Erie has a lot going on.
Yeah. Like, this might be a university that isn't as old as Edinburgh, but the land where the university has had people on it and has been civilized longer than Edinburgh has been a university. So,
yeah.
Or a college, I should say.
And there's... I can't think of a much of a better term. The downtown Erie area, especially heading out east, there's a brutal history for Erie's downtown, too. There's a lot that happened there that could have definitely stayed in that area before Gannon ever was even dreamed of. So Sean's right there too. Like, this could be.
That's right where the Great Flood went through.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot.
There's the flood, the Gage War. Even Erie's Indians were all over the area, and the Seneca. Like, there's
Battle of 1812. Like,
where Gannon is one
it
of the
is
most...
literally next to Perry Plaza. Perry Square, I should say.
It's close enough to where truly, what was it, the bunkhouse?
Yeah.
Like, we've talked so many things, and that's why it's like, this is right in the heart of that area of things we've already talked about. So yeah, while the university itself and the stories itself are minimal and fairly new, like, this is a rich history area, and that's the piece that we take and we're talking about, and we're asking you to consider when you're listening to this, is that there wasn't a whole lot on Gannon itself, but if you connect it with everything else we've talked about, like, this is big.
And I was going to say, I don't know how much would even go reported, because how many people would just shrug it off as, oh yeah, that's just weird downtown Erie.
Yeah.
I would say the other thing is, when you think about the typical students that go to Gannon, a lot of them are local.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they do recruiting for their teams and everything, but for the most part, a lot of Gannon students are local Erie residents. There's not a whole lot of outside.
Especially if you already went to a school like Prep Mercer Sevilla, you get a discount for going there.
Yeah. So
discount might not be the right word to use for a college.
No, that is right. That is right.
You get
It is a
tuition break.
discount. It is actually considered a discount.
Yeah. So, any Catholic school kids in the area, if you're thinking of going to a college, you get a discount from Gannon. And then you can get there, find out the fraternity, let us know. You'll be our mole.
Yeah.
Now, Gannon was just dropped on one of the most historic spots in the U.S., and it's just took over that area, but everything there before is still there.
Well, and like we said, it being the bishop's college, it literally was the cathedral college originally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't teaching, traditional, the arts and sciences. It was purely secular. That was it.
Yeah. I'll say there's still a good number of priests that are going through the seminary that get their degrees at Gannon. That is a normal occurrence. But to switch gears just a little bit, I want to talk about the Schuster Theatre.
All right.
Just a little bit.
I love Schuster Theatre. I was there all the time when I was at Gannon.
Like, it is...
I wish I knew it was haunted back then.
Right?
Because that's something I totally would have been looking out for. I'm just watching weird plays here. There could be a cigar-smoking ghost next to me.
But to be honest, Schuster Theatre itself is a unique building, too.
Very.
It's an old building. I actually, if I remember right, 3 years ago, something like that, they renovated. They did
Really?
Yes. They were doing, like, fixing up, because it's an old theater. Like, when we talk about ghost stories, this fits perfectly because it's an old building. Did you see anything on, like, when it was built?
All I could track down was in the 60s. That was it.
Yeah.
And I looked at old brochures, pamphlets, yearbooks.
Because if I remember right, the building's been there longer.
Yeah.
It's an old-looking building.
Yeah, it's an old building. I believe the college bought it and then started doing shows in it. So it's been around longer. So I would like to know how old it is, because, if you've ever been into it or even walked past it on the street, you're like,
what is that?
Yeah, it looks
and
old.
we're talking an old building among old
buildings. Yeah. So, I really wanted to say, like, I didn't have any kind of, like, oh yeah, this is this beautiful... No, I just want to say it's an old building. So, and as we've talked about several times, old buildings have a lot of history. So,
all right, especially one that's been converted into an art house, and they do tons of productions there, big ones and small ones, and it is revered amongst the students that partake there.
Yeah.
That is like holy. That is holy ground. He assaulted me.
didn't mean to.
He tried killing me. You saw it. That's evidence. Evidence one. Schuster Theatre is an amazing building, and Alex is 100% right. If you've never been there and you don't know what it is, you would never guess that is actually Schuster Theatre. When I was first going to a play there, I didn't even know what building it was. I drove by it like 6 times because I didn't think that's what it was.
Yeah, just want to point out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It looks like an old courthouse.
It does not look like, and that's what makes it so unique.
No, and it would be cool to know like the history of what happened there before there, because you're right, that building has a total history on its own.
Yeah, see, they were doing renovations. This was a few years ago.
That's cool. Good for
Yeah,
them.
they were actually like updating it and things like that. So yeah.
And the story of George is a sad one, but it doesn't sound like he's a sad ghost.
Yeah.
No, he reminds me of Matilda without the angst. It doesn't sound like he's doing anything to inconvenience people. He's still almost like just doing his job.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, just moving stuff, opening. I do like that it's specifically cigar smoke.
Yeah.
Once again, we do say that this is downtown, but basically every building downtown is smoke-free now. So the chances of cigar smoke being something you smell inside a building
It's pretty rare.
is pretty rare. Not likely.
Especially cigar smoke specifically.
Right.
That's not a popular casual item that you'd be smoking every day. Especially as a janitor working at a theater.
So I'm going to put this out there and ask another question.
Love it.
The Strong Mansion. He worked at the Strong Mansion, which is now Gannon's Old Main.
Mm-hmm.
Schuster Theatre and Old Main are not connected.
I was going to ask about that. I didn't think they were, because I thought Schuster was its own standalone thing.
So it's a terrible drawing, but so we got the courthouse over here. That was a terrible drawing, but so the courthouse is here. Old Main is across the street from the theater. There's a couple other smaller buildings, but then the newly renovated library is there. And Schuster's over here.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even right next door. It's not even on the same block. So that makes me wonder why. Why is he found at Schuster Theatre? It's the only thing I'm
could be
wondering.
One of two things. One, could just be where he wanted to stay.
True.
Simple answer. Or, we're talking downtown Erie.
Mm-hmm.
Old Main. We're talking a building that was there probably in the 1800s. There's a good chance that the Strong family owned everything on that side of the road.
I was thinking that too.
Because that was one of the things with downtown Erie. Like, it was, people owned large sections of it.
Millionaires Row.
Yep. So when I was thinking it, I was thinking that I thought it was closer, but I mean, that's not terribly far away.
Yeah.
But I figured it was an adjoining building that they used to own or something.
Yeah. It would have to, and that was the whole thing I was thinking, was that I'm sure
that could have been servants' quarters for all we know.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I was like, that's the only thing I wonder is the Strong family, like, how much of the property did they own? And the question is, so if this building was been around since the 1800s, has that building been around the same amount of time? Like, there's a lot of questions to be asked about the history of the area. Like I said, I know the library was just renovated, like in the last 6 years, completely remodeled, building, interior, everything. So it's like, what was there before? if the mansion was a larger property and everything else, like what exactly was?
Right.
Yeah.
Andrew's our property management guy.
The one thing, like, I keep thinking, like, and it would never happen, so it's just in my headcanon and my own speculation, like, to have, like, a time frame when George's ghost started to show up, because, like, I do wonder, like, if immediately after his death, if he was showing up, like, at the Strong family mansion, but, like, I could see over time, as that morphed into something else that he wasn't a part of anymore, that he would and could drift away and find himself down at a theater, enjoying the productions, enjoying the area, or just making that like his own space now if it wasn't inhabited by anything else.
And like we were just saying, there's so many renovations. Maybe a renovation kicked him up. Like,
Where did George take his life?
didn't say. I was assuming it was probably on the property. That's why I was thinking that Schuster was part of the property at one point.
If that was servant's quarter, I would imagine that's where he would do it. Or if
He was removed from the property, and that was
Did you just go across
close,
the street?
yeah.
And
All of a sudden, that
he was
was
in love with the maid, he doesn't want her cleaning up his body.
exactly. That's why all of a sudden, like the light went on. I was like, oh. So anyway, sorry. I was just like,
No, you're fine. And one of the key things to, like with spirits, is a lot of times they will do sense that like people will recognize them by, and that becomes a calling card of them.
Mhm.
So, him giving off the cigar smoke is one of his signs that he wants to be noticed. And so, like, with him not being like a sad spirit, it does really sound like he is like the friendly ghost of Schuster Theatre. Like, he's just, when you smell cigar smoke, he's just like, have a good day. I'm here. I'm gonna go move that sandbag.
I did hear that a lot of times they would hear, like in the theater, they would hear like the coat hangers that costumes were on just being moved by themselves.
He's just looking at the costumes.
Yeah.
He wants to see what's happening with this play.
Yeah.
He heard the play was called Chess, and he's wondering why not a single one of them is a chess piece costume.
I definitely, not to dive into final thoughts or anything, but I think this is something we could do a follow-up on. Maybe not a big one, but we could go see a play at Schuster Theatre, go there a little bit before and stay a little bit after, and just kind of like feel around the area and see what's going on. Because it's a thing that those plays are open to the public. It's not like it's only students. Like, anyone can go to those. So this is one of those places where, yes, we don't have public access to it 24/7, but when they're doing shows, we can be a patron of the arts, go to the show, and see if we see or smell or hear George.
Yeah, and if he's as frequent as it makes it sound, it could be one of those things where like we could reach out to one of the people that works down there and see if we could even get a tour.
Yeah.
See where does George hang out the most.
If you are a former cast member at the Schuster Theatre and you have more experiences to tell us about, let us know. We want to hear it.
Interestingly, this is our second ghost named George.
Yeah.
Both took their lives.
What is it with the name George?
I don't know.
So, sorry.
There was no bus involved with this one, though.
We don't know.
Thankfully.
It was an elaborate scheme.
I'm considering. Did you get a year on when the George thing? Okay, we can
amorphous.
we can definitely assume it's before the 1960s.
Yeah. I was assuming it was before it was actually at college.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So let's be honest. If we can go back to pre-1930s, I doubt there's a bus going through because that's
Trolley.
I'll say that's during the day of the trolley, but the trolley would not be going down this way
That's how I did it. He reset the track.
because the trolley would have gone down Main Street, down what is now State Street.
Horse and buggy bus.
Horse and buggy bus. It's a horse with a giant, just wagon, like Pioneer Days wagon.
They used to call it a horse and bussy.
Oh, the bussie's hot tonight. Nope. Nope.
I would love to go to Schuster Theatre again.
Yeah.
Especially with this in mind. See what the feeling is. See, just if anything happens, or just what the vibe is, or at least enjoy a play. They always do good shows down there.
Yeah.
John, any final thoughts from you?
Nothing really. I mean, like we've said before, this is downtown Erie. Downtown Erie has always been kind of weird. Like, you get a different feeling when you're downtown, especially at night. But I think it's less because of a presence and more because downtown Erie is kind of creepy at night. It's the people you got to worry about, not the spirits. So
It's the living, not the dead.
Yeah.
So basically, I have never felt any kind of feeling at any of Gannon's buildings. Definitely didn't feel any spirits at a Golden Knights game. Like, in fact, my spirits were kind of crushed at a Golden Knights game. But
Every student's are there. You weren't even a student.
I wasn't even a student. But I don't know. I think it's because we are so used to downtown Erie, and we have been in downtown Erie so many times. We're just kind of numb to it. We have become so used to it that we don't see these kind of things. So I would like to be able to go check out these areas with an outsider, whether it's Jocelyn that isn't really used to downtown,
That would be perfect.
or heck, we'll get Erica to come downtown with us, because I'd like an outside perspective, because I feel like we are so desensitized to downtown that if something was happening, we wouldn't even notice it.
Before I go into my final thoughts, if I could just say, because we were talking about this, because I've taught there and I was a student there, I spent a lot of time on campus. And knowing what I know now about Old Main, when I first started as a student and before I was teaching, literally the semester before I started teaching, because I taught while I was a student, so it was like the first semester I walked around a lot of the buildings, just kind of like get a feel of the campus and everything. The Old Main building also houses, there was new construction parts of it. That's where the student union is, so like it's all interconnected. The newer building is the student union, but it connects into the actual Old Main. It's a weird transition. Like, at the time, I was walking through the hallways at like 4 p.m. and it felt really weird. I couldn't explain the feeling. I just felt weird about it. So I don't know.
If there was like a presence with you.
Yeah, I really.
Or if it was just such a sharp transition from new to old, or old to new. It feels like you're going back in time.
There was definitely that. There's also an eerie silence that is in that building, even though there's people in it, like all the time. It's definitely one of those, like, we could go to these areas because they're not like super like cut off, and I still have my ID, so we can definitely like go there. But like there's something unique about that building, knowing that it is the old mansion. Like, leads me to believe, okay, there's is something to my feeling there. But the other building, and it wasn't talked about in the stories, and considering there's not a whole lot of ghost stories about Gannon, I know I particularly had night classes, and I would teach during the day, so I'd be on campus from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. So like I was there late, and the Palumbo, AJ Palumbo building, which is right off of 9th Street and Peach, there are some feelings in there. There are just like, and I think it has less to do with the building, and I think it has more to do with the public parking that's directly connected to it. Like, the building itself actually lets out into the public parking structure, and I wonder, just simply knowing history, that there have been homeless people that live there, and there have been people that have died in public parking in Erie. Like, I wonder if there's something to that just either it's too recent that it hasn't really caused anything, but I can definitely say that I felt uncomfortable in the eerie silence of the evening in that building. Be that what it may, I don't know if it's just, that
being
uncomfortable
alone in
silence.
a quiet building, it's just nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Or if something, once again, an outside.
So the Palumbo building, I'm more apt to believe is just the creepy silence, but there's definitely something with the Old Main that I'd be interested to have someone else come and definitely, as you said, an outsider.
Yeah.
I think that would really drive that home. But outside of that, my final thoughts on Gannon is I really wish there was more that was like talked about, and I'm more intrigued as to why there's not. Why is it the same ghost stories told?
Yeah.
once again, these could be outsiders, people that aren't from the area, someone that's on scholarship and is part of, the performing arts, someone at a fraternity party where they're not from the area, they're in town for the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, are we just desensitized to it?
I don't know.
No, it's interesting to me, and I'd love to find out more. So hopefully we're able to do a part 2 as we go see a play and check out Schuster Theatre a little bit. But I think that does it for Gannon University, the Bishop's College,
Yes.
as Mr. LeBron over here pointed out for us. But thanks for tuning in. Check out our sponsors. Like and subscribe. Make sure to share us around. If you hate us, share us with the people you don't like, and we'll annoy them for you.
There we go.
That's genius.
Instead of Rick-rolling, you can who's ghost story them.
Never gonna give you, and that's all we can do.
We'll be your weaponized YouTube videos. So, like, subscribe, come back next time for some more back to school ghouly action.
Thanks, guys.
Stay in the light.